It's time for Preserving Your Dignity and Your Money, Planning for Successful Aging with Nugen Law. And now your host, J. Bryan Nugen, estate planning and elder law attorney.
Good morning and welcome to Preserving Your Dignity and Your Money, Planning for Successful Aging with Nugen Law. I'm attorney J. Bryan Nugen, founder of Nugen Law, and your host for our program. The purpose of our show is to have weekly, in-depth conversations about matters relevant to folks as they walk down the path of successful aging. Our listeners will learn what it is to age with dignity and how best to protect their money. I've been practicing law for 3 decades. I'm licensed to practice in Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and Florida, and actively represent clients in all 4 states. My practice, the attorneys, and our interdisciplinary team of professionals who practice with me concentrate on working with clients in estate planning and elder law and areas related to them, such as estate and trust administration, guardianships, planning for those with special needs. I'd like to mention that if you care to meet with any of the team members at Nugen Law, at either our Auburn or Fort Wayne offices, please call us at 260-925-3738 or send a message to us through our website, www.nugenlaw.com. That's www.nugenlaw.com. Today, I have a member of the Nugen Law interdisciplinary team, Mr. Bryan Grubb, our Elder Care Coordinator, or as we call him, BG. There are 2 Bryans in the office, myself and Bryan Grubb, so we had to give Bryan Grubb a nickname, BG. Before we get into asking BG questions, you should know that he has a degree in psychology, licensed social worker, having been licensed for 30 years. BG is also a large part of how Nugen Law strives to preserve and protect the dignity of our clients. BG, if you would, please explain what services an Elder Care Coordinator provides for the Nugen Law clients with whom you're working.
Sure. Good morning, Brian. The Elder Care Coordinator does a variety of things. Some of the main things are providing referrals, helping people with different processes, such as the Medicaid waiver, finding facilities to live in, moving, a variety of things that will just help people through whatever stage they are in.
When you say provide referrals to what?
So it could be referrals for aging home services, for the Medicaid waiver. It could be for getting a medical alert. It could be for home health care. It could be for getting people just the maybe equipment that they may need at home, all sorts of things.
So as an Elder Care Coordinator with Nugen Law, you're not necessarily providing those services that they need. You're coordinating or putting together the patchwork of those services so your clients can be successful wherever they are.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, my job is more just knowing about resources, getting people connected. So I'm a big connector of whatever they may need. And sometimes I do more direct stuff with just kind of helping with documents, those kind of things, helping them find, for example, this week I helped somebody complete a disability application. So
excellent. That's great. You mentioned home health. Let's talk about some of those different types of care that someone may have in their own home. There's home health, there's personal service agencies, there's hospice, there's palliative care, there's rehabilitation. So BG, as an Elder Care Coordinator with Nugen Law, are you familiar with those different providers within the communities of the clients with whom you're working?
Yeah, it's very important for me to be in contact with and have relationships with agencies that provide all of those services. For example, this last week I helped a family who didn't even think about hospice care to ask or tell them about the services and have their knowledge or give them a knowledge of multiple agencies in the community, let them make the choice, and then connect them with the person. So I give them kind of individual attention to make that initial steps for those referrals.
Hospice sometimes can be kind of a hot button.
Yeah.
People are nervous. They hear that phrase and there's, oh my gosh, you're giving up on me. I would assume, BG, that part of your service that you're providing to your clients is to explain this is really what hospice is. This is not something to be afraid of.
Yes.
In fact, it opens a door to a lot of services and meets you where you are.
Yeah. For example, this family this week, they hadn't even thought about that. So I gave them kind of the essence. And I tell them always that I'm not the expert on all of that.
Nope.
And
you're coordinating it. You don't have to be. You have to know the resource, and you're tying it to the client to help them.
Yeah, what I do is I identify like, oh, this may be something that would be helpful to your family, and to just kind of like give like a preliminary diagnosis, a little bit of like, oh, they could use this service, and then let them know about it, maybe kind of help with some, allaying some of their fears about it. Because everybody, when you hear that word, for this example, they avoid it.
Sure.
So this family, when I told them about it, I connected them with the daughter, the mom. They are absolutely, this was just a week ago when they were evaluated. They have the services already, and it's made a huge difference in their life already.
How does that make you feel as their ECC?
Oh, it's awesome, and I check in with them, and I check in not just with them, but with the agency. So even after I connect them, I feel good. Like, in fact, this agency that I connected this family to, they're like, man, we just love that family. They are so good. They're so kind. And the family are just ecstatic about how it's already made a difference in their lives.
So there was a service that your clients were a little intimidated by, didn't really understand all the benefits that came with it, and you were able to introduce that to them.
Yep.
What a feel-good situation there. And it may not just be hospice, right? We talked about personal services. So if someone needs care in their home and maybe just assistance with some activities of daily living, bathing, grooming, meal preparation.
Yeah, getting meals itself,
that's a hot one, right?
Yeah.
I see, as an elder law attorney, the kids will come in and will say to me, Mom isn't eating like she should be, or she's not drinking like she should be. And Mom will say to me, I'm just not hungry, or it's hard for me to make a meal anymore. I used to enjoy doing it, but now I've got some physical challenges. It's not so easy anymore.
Yeah.
So are you able to make sure that they have meals in the home and coordinate all of that?
Yeah, able to do that pretty quickly, and also just like help them get more services as time goes on as we connect them with additional services. Another thing just recently did with a family was a family member was coming home from a facility from rehab. They thought she would be in there pretty much the rest of her life, but great news is she's coming home. So with them, they weren't aware of a couple of different programs. They had no idea about the Medicaid waiver and or a program called Money Follows the Person. So met with them, informed them about it, helped that process get started. And guess what? They're going to get all sorts of help that they will benefit from. And again, a big part of that isn't just for the individual that needs the help. It's for the family. It helps the family have more quality time with the individual.
Right. Allows the family member to be a son, to be a daughter, to be a grandchild, as opposed to being a caregiver. And the dynamic is different for the person. If you're a family member giving the direct care versus an outside party coming in and giving the direct care, the dynamic is just different.
Yes.
And it's nice for you to coordinate that care so the daughter can remain the daughter, the son can remain the son, and maybe not helping with some of those more personal and intimate matters as folks age.
Yeah. Family I just met with before coming here this morning, helped them get the waiver services, and I was visiting with them about how that was going. And so I always do follow up and make sure things are good, and connect and intervene whenever I need to.
Sure.
But this family is, again, they a daughter and or a granddaughter and a wife. They are able to now spend more time even with themselves, doing more because they have somebody coming in.
Right.
So
if there's a spouse that's in the home or a child that's been regularly going, it's very difficult to care for someone 24 hours a day. That's a big ask.
Huge job.
And so it's allowing them to maintain their own life and for them to have a regular sleep schedule and do all of that when you're coordinating that care in their home for them.
Yep.
So as you know, BG, Nugen Law, you're referencing things like Money Follows the Person and waiver services, Medicaid, et cetera. So as a part of the Nugen Law team, that our life care planning team, the attorneys may be protecting assets, may be protecting some of those things so that they can go on programs like that. And that's how both the lawyers and then the elder care coordinator work together to provide these services for our clients. So very, very impressive. Thank you. As you know, BG, Nugen Law is regularly working with clients to protect their assets, typically by using very unique trusts. And I know you've heard us talk about this in the office, asset protection trusts, such that our clients may become eligible for those public benefits. What our listeners may not know is that our clients needing coordination of their care as they age are able to work directly with you. So BG, as an elder care coordinator, how is it that you initially get to know your Nugen Law clients?
Well, usually I'm informed by the attorneys, like what their basic needs are and kind of a direction. So I always like meeting people in their homes whenever possible or wherever it's comfortable for them. So it could be in their home, it could be at a nursing facility, wherever that. So that for me is the best way to start a relationship with them. So I would go meet with them, get some just some basic information about what's been going on, how long it's been going on, maybe medical conditions, that kind of thing. That helps give me some idea. So I do an assessment, and usually it's not a big, long assessment, and I just kind of get the nuts and bolts of what's needed right there. So, for example, yesterday I went right to a home, met some people for the first time, and I talked directly to the person. I'm not just talking to family members. I'm talking directly to the individuals because they are the center of the care. That
I just read an interesting article about that and a woman's experience with the physician of her mother. And the physician spoke the entire time to the daughter and never looked at the mother. Yeah. And it was not a good working relationship. Yeah. So I appreciate your saying that your client, the loved one that everybody's focusing on, that's where your attention is.
Yeah.
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 And they deserve that.
Yeah.
They deserve that dignity.
Right. Yeah. And even when I'm talking to the family members outside of the situation, I always make sure that they understand, like, this person is the center of what we're doing right now. Mm-hmm. And they need to participate. Yesterday I was with a family and meeting them for the first time, and went right in, talked to the person. The person is in a chair all day, needs help, needs a Hoyer lift to get in and out, but treated him with dignity by asking him questions, asking him what he wants, what's most important to him. And also making sure during the entire hour and a half to 2 hours that I was with that family and with the caretaker that they have, that we always made sure he heard what was being said. He heard what we were talking about. So.
Excellent. I appreciate your doing that for our clients. Yeah. So you've kind of established a baseline for your client when you first meet them, meeting them where they are, finding out what challenges they have, what positive experiences they have. And I would assume, correct me if I'm wrong, over time, as you continue working with that client, you then can see, is there a deviation from that baseline? Yeah. And I would, again, correct me if I'm wrong, identify for them some things that they may consider utilizing, some community resources that they may consider utilizing, so that we can keep them in their home, so that we can meet them where they are, provide the best care for them.
Right. I always, I continually just kind of look at people and ask questions. One person I met just this last week for the first time, I wasn't even sure if the family knew, like, if this was kind of the baseline for this individual. So I asked them, hey, is this normal for them? And they said that they weren't even sure. Like, it seemed like she had changed some. So I met with a roommate of this individual and asked that person the same thing. Now, can you tell me, like, is what you're observing now, is this normal? Is this what you've been observing? Some family members live out of state, so they're not really seeing this person on a regular basis. So I'm getting information from this person that sees her on a daily basis. So, yeah, there's always reassessment. There's always opportunity to continue making things better. I don't just go and meet somebody, set up kind of a plan kind of thing. It's not idle. It's always moving, whatever they need. And sometimes we don't know. I mean, things change quickly sometimes. So,
how often are your clients able to communicate with you, reach out to you, touch you, talk to you? How often?
Well, I tell people, do not hesitate. Well, first of all, I tell them, don't call the office number. Call my phone number. So they have access to me all the time. In fact, I regularly get calls after hours or on the weekends. And, for me, it's just acknowledging that I trust that if they're calling me, it's important.
Sure.
So they can talk to me as often as they would like.
Very nice.
And I enjoy that, actually.
Good. How do you communicate with your client? Are you only speaking with the client? Are you able to speak with her family and loved ones? How do you say to your client I've had these observations. Here was your, you wouldn't say it necessarily in this phrase, but when I met you initially, this was your baseline. This is where you are. This is where you are today. How do you communicate with them those changes that you're seeing, needs that you are identifying, resources for them, not only them, but their client? How do you go about that?
Well, I make it a point to, we have a weekly meeting, and I make it a point to look at all the people that we're working with. I may not see them every week, and probably that's not the usual, but usually every couple of weeks I'll get with them and talk with family members as well as individuals. So I'm participating with them on a regular basis. Sometimes it's by phone call. Sometimes it's by actually physically going to wherever they're at, whether it's the hospital. They may have been in a facility yesterday and now today at the regional hospital. So I'll go to those places directly and talk to them.
So it's not just their home you're going to?
Oh, no, not at all. Never. No, I'm in facilities, homes. Sometimes I meet them. Some clients, I might meet them for lunch, But I go all over to see them. Also, as far as communication goes, I always try to find out what's the best way to communicate. The lady I was with yesterday, she said the best way to communicate with her is by text. So I text. I find out what the most important and easiest way for somebody to communicate with, and that's what I choose to do. But I might email them. I might text them. A lot of the agencies, they're busy, so I'm contacting them by email, text, whatever. But I find out what works best, and then I always communicate with the individual. If I see something change, and just make a point here, it goes both ways. Yesterday I was at a meeting with an area agency on aging, and we worked hard to get an individual, and this is going to happen, to get them out of a nursing facility back into an apartment. And this is happening soon. So
great. Your client has to be thrilled with that transition. And you should be proud of yourself for being a major part of that. Well,
that was a team effort. We had some trouble with that at first, but we put it together, did it again, and it's happening. So that was an effort. I gave that guy a big old hug, and I said, you know what? Your life is going to be better.
Right. Is he receiving care in the home now that he's transitioning home?
Well, what we're working with him on is getting him back. He's going to go to an assisted living from a Medicaid nursing facility.
And so let's talk about those assisted living facilities. As an elder care coordinator with Nugen Law, representing your clients, or working with your clients, I should say, are you introducing them to different assisted living facilities, different independent living facilities, different rehab facilities that they may consider? Are you integral in that process of transitioning them from one location to another and able to organize tours and those types of things?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, it's a big deal for people.
Yeah.
Many people are leaving their homes and they're going to whether it's assisted living or independent living or whatever. So, I familiarize myself with the facilities around the area and even out of this area, up northern Indiana, northwestern Indiana. And just last week I went to a facility down in two facilities, southern and western Indiana. So I like to get to know the people that are working at those places, make relationships with those people. But yeah, I absolutely want to do my best at helping people make decisions. And sometimes, again, this goes to the client owner. We had somebody a while back here who I gave them a couple different places to go to for assisted living that was going to be paid for by the Medicaid waiver. Once I just said, these are two options. I thought maybe one would fit better for the person. They didn't like it. They liked the other one. But again, it wasn't my job to pick for them.
No.
It's my job to show
Open a door.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I remember years ago I had made a recommendation for a client to a certain assisted living facility. And it was too highfalutin. I'm using their words. It was too highfalutin for them.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good fit. And so we found another facility that is a little bit more of a casual atmosphere. And it was the best fit ever for this client.
Yeah.
So we at Nugen Law, and you as the elder care coordinator at Nugen Law, we want to make sure that the client is happy and they're in an appropriate environment, getting appropriate care. It's a feel good, without a doubt.
Well, and we just don't always know we don't know what's best for people.
No.
We just say, hey, these are some option ideas. Even this gentleman that we're just referring to, he still has a home that he could go to, but the daughter thinks that it'd be better. So what she said yesterday, we're hoping that he will choose this place. She goes, I want to make sure he knows and sees the place before he makes that choice.
Of course.
And I always.
So how do you facilitate that?
Well, what I would do
see the place and know the place.
Well, as soon as I got done yesterday, I made a phone call to that facility, gave them the person's name. I asked if it was okay with the family first, but called that person that I do with the admissions at that facility and said, hey, these people are going to call you. I want to set up a tour for them. I just giving you a heads up. And they've already narrowed it down. The family has narrowed it down.
Sure.
So that's what I would do for that.
So do you have access to the healthcare providers for your clients, their medical team?
Yes. Again, depend on the family, what they're looking for. But yeah, I frequently am involved with those kind of things. I'll talk to hospice staff, nursing staff, involved in the care plan meetings. So I'll be involved with the social worker if they're at a facility that has a social worker, the whole care team. And every facility does it a little differently. Sometimes the clients don't even know that they have a care team. So I frequently will say, hey, have you had a care plan meeting, or have they told you?
So what is just to define for our listeners, what is a care plan meeting?
A care plan meeting is a meeting that a facility will hold with all the team members. So it could be physical therapy, it could be nursing, it could be dietary. They put together a meeting for people that are entering the facility so that they know what's going on with the person. They get family input, and they get a plan going so that the family knows what's happening.
Sure.
Recently, I had a family individual who had just had a traumatic brain injury. And before I helped actually get this, they were having trouble getting into any facility. I helped them get into a facility by creating relationship with the family or the team and the family, and being an advocate for that family with that facility. So, but even prior to that, I asked the facility, I said, can we get a care plan meeting right away? The family member has really good information for this person to be successful at that facility. So this is not just working for the family and for the individual, but also for the facility. I help the facilities get the best information that they can get to make that relationship positive and successful for the benefit of the individual.
Which should be the goal of everyone, for sure. To our listeners, when you're ready to meet with any of the team members at Nugen Law at either our Auburn or Fort Wayne office, please give us a call, 260-925-3738, 260-925-3738, or visit us online at www.nugenlaw.com. That's www.nugenlaw.com. So you mentioned earlier, BG, about advocating for your clients. it almost sounds, advocate, it's pejorative in a sense or negative in a sense. But I like to hear you say you're working in tandem with the healthcare provider. You're working with the facility. You're working with and as well as the client to make sure the client has the best experience. So the avocation for your clients shouldn't be a scary thing for the healthcare provider, shouldn't be a scary thing for the facilities. In fact, you're bringing people to them.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Please relate a real life story, something that you can recognize using your services as an elder care coordinator at Nugen Law. Like when you first met them and where you're seeing them now and how has that experience been for the client? What changes have you seen for the client or family members of the client since becoming involved with you as an elder care coordinator at Nugen Law?
Well, a good one probably is one I just shared with, is just starting with a family member. There was a husband and wife at a facility, and I was meeting with them, just creating relationship, giving the family, the daughter, some help with some things, and then unfortunately the wife passed away. And during that time, they were trying to keep the couple together. So, again, my role was to advocate for the family, to make sure that, if possible, we could keep them together and keep them together in a positive way. After she passed, there was a big change in him, some depression, of course, and that kind of thing. My role, though, was to make sure that the team members at the facility were aware of his changes, that they were possibly going to move him to another area of the facility. So I worked with that part of it. But the big thing here now is that, again, this individual is doing better. He's progressed in a way that he's ready to move forward with his life. He's not stuck in the life he's had. I can tell you many examples of where people's, the family members' lives have changed because of the waiver process or whatever, and just helping people to get to a better place in life. I mean, that's really the goal, is to help people have the best life that they can.
Of course. So people are always curious how to know how your services are paid for. Nugen Law has a flat fee, value-based annual fee. So BG, if you speak with your clients once a day, once a week, once a month, none of your time is being tracked, correct?
Right, that's right.
How do you find this helpful for your clients to relieve their worry about having to pay more and more as their level of care may increase?
I think for a lot of people, it's just it eases their minds, that they have somebody they can count on, that they can call and not worry about having to pay more money for every call, because they always think, well, it's an attorney, it's going to be, every minute counts,
Nope, it's not how we bill.
Yeah.
No.
And I spend hours. This morning I was with a family for an hour and 15 minutes or so. And again, for me, it's just quality time, making sure that their questions are answered, that they feel a sense of relief, that they feel like they have not just a partner in law, but a friend, because for me, it's building that relationship. And that's really the essence of everything that I do, is building a relationship, making people feel like they're important.
Sure. So that flat fee, that value-based billing, your client could work exclusively with you as part of Nugen Law, but they also could have their estate planning or elder law work done. They could be, getting asset protection, getting those Medicaid benefits, all for a flat fee. Yeah. So that if they're using one component of our interdisciplinary team or using all the components, same cost. Yeah. Same flat fee, but they have all of those doors open to them. Yeah. I'm so proud that we're able to do that for our clients.
Yeah, we've had some people that just said, we really don't need that piece, and then they find out later.
Aha! That's the biggest, for me, that's the biggest aha moment, when the family doesn't recognize, this elder care coordinator, I don't know if we need this or we don't need it. And then when we've been working with the family, and the family member, right, the toughest child in the family comes forward and says, It's the one thing I didn't think we need, and I'm so thrilled we had that assistance from BG, our elder care coordinator. So if our listeners would like to meet with BG or any of the team members at Nugen Law at either our Auburn or Fort Wayne office, please call us at 260-925-3738 or send us a message through our website, www.nugenlaw.com. That's NUGENLAW.com. Thanks for your insight, Bryan Grubb, BG. We certainly appreciate it. And folks, thank you for listening to Preserving Your Dignity and Your Money, Planning for Successful Aging with Nugen Law, and to our guest, Elder Care Coordinator, Mr. Bryan Grubb. Look forward to next weekend, Saturday at 9 a.m. for our next show. Enjoy your weekend.
You've been listening to Preserving Your Dignity and Your Money, Planning for Successful Aging with Nugen Law. For more information, log on to NugenLaw.com or email help@NugenLaw.com. Nothing stated in today's program should be considered as legal advice, should not be considered as having created an attorney-client relationship between show host and guests and any listener. Nugen Law is not liable for anything that happens as a result of a listener relying on provided information as legal advice. The content is for informational purposes only.